Okay, thank you. Welcome to the special meeting of the Trumbull Housing Authority. We have one item on the agenda, and any residents who may want to comment may only comment upon that one item. We can't add anything. We can't do anything more to a special meeting. We can only discuss the one item. So I'll call the meeting to order at 5:03 p.m. and I will ask our clerk to call the roll.
Kathy McGannon,
Here.
Laurel Anderson,
Here.
Suzanne D'Onofrio,
Here.
Maureen Bova,
Here.
and Charlene Pedersen.
Peterson. Here.
Peter,
And for anybody watching, I'd like to introduce Charlene. She is a new commissioner replacing Mary Beth Thornton, who had some work changes that prevent her from attending these meetings. So we welcome Charlene. Charlene is an attorney, and I'm sure she will bring quite a bit to our group. If you will join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of
the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, I think I will start this off. I don't know whether Harriet wants to explain what's going on here or Kent, who would be better to walk us through this.
Kent, you want to start and then I'll chime in?
Okay.
I mean, I think this is basically, as many of you guys know, we've started the construction at the congregate facility. They started doing kind of the first few units, as well as some of the pipe replacements and things like that need to get prepared in preparation for doing the boiler and hot water tanks. But specifically, I think we're talking about some of the things that we've identified over the last week or two during construction that there were issues within the plans, conflicts, and things that we need to resolve, and you have a change order for. Change orders are never good, but it is a nature of the beast in construction. So I think, Harriet, that's basically what we're talking about, right? Is the two
Yes,
change
correct.
We have one that, one item that we had to do is we were changing all the hot and cold water valves in the corridors to the units. One of those was found during the replacement that was very, very corroded. It was a small change order of about $900. So that needs to be approved. That's really more, had to go forward, had to get approved. Otherwise we'd have issues of either leaking or not getting units online. So the larger issue is that there was a conflict within the plans and specs for, as you know, we're changing out the tubs into a more accessible shower system. And in those, there was a conflict that in the plans it didn't show a folding seat, in the specs it did show a folding seat. We need to have, or at least I feel, and I think Harriet agrees, in a congregate facility, we have to have some form of seat in these showers. Even if somebody, I mean, if you're in a wheelchair and they roll in and they're in their wheelchair, that's one thing. That's why it needs to fold or be removable. But if you're in a walker, or even if you're able-bodied and you can stand in there, it gives them someplace that if they need to put that seat down and rest for a minute or to do whatever in the shower, it is, I mean, obviously there's grab bars and things like that in the shower, but we need to have a seat in there. And this was not included in the bid responses and the pricing that occurred. It is not currently part of the contract, so we have a change order of about $11,000 to do that. Given all the work that we're doing, this seems like a very important thing. In some senior developments that are not congregate, we might consider not doing seats, but this one, it doesn't seem like we should, and I just think we should put them in. We have contingency for these activities. The reason you always get these, the first couple units you do, you identify issues and concerns. So really what we're here to talk about is really this issue, I think, and to kind of make sure you guys are aware of why we have to do this and what occurred, and why, it's not part of the contract, I guess.
I think that's where I would like to start with somebody put together plans for this renovation, and the seats were not in the plans that went out to bid.
They were in the specs, because we talked about this. We discussed how important this was. But by the time it went to bid, for some reason, they were not in the bid. That's my understanding of it. Ken, yours as well?
Yeah.
This is Maureen speaking. I think George gave the answer that they were so far down in the specs that they didn't pick up on it.
Were they on the drawings though, or they weren't on the drawings? Is that it? They were in the specs, but not on the drawings.
I didn't see the drawings. That would be up to George. He probably left them off.
No, they were left off the drawings. Okay.
Yeah, they were not on the drawings, which in theory, they should be. I mean, it's a folding, so then sometimes it's hard to see in a true plan view without doing elevations. And typically in this level of rehab, you don't do elevations of things as much as you would if we were doing new construction or full gut activities. But they should have, it's easy to point your finger and say that it wasn't in the plans and it went to bid. I would prefer that it would have been there. But at the end of the day, what we have a price for and what we have a contract for does not include that. So this would be a change that we need to do contractually. The issue that the architect just missed this is an issue we need to deal with on that side. But as far as moving the construction forward, the contractor shouldn't be responsible for this because it wasn't part of his bid at this point. Now, with that said, we do have contingency. As much as we would love to save money in the world, the way that these grants work, we need to spend every dollar. So sometimes we need to have contingency and spend it so that we don't want to give it back to the state. We'd like to keep it within the congregate facility if we can. So we I don't like change orders this early, but now that we've done basically 3 units at this point, we don't anticipate much changes within units across the board as we move forward. So we feel like we're in good shape. We're early on. We have a lot of contingency we can manage.
So we have 3 units that are done. Are the seats installed in those 3 units?
No, they're not.
No,
Well,
they have to go back.
and even though I said
Have to be ordered.
And even though I said technically they're done, what I mean is they've actually been fully involved. They haven't finished painting and doing some touch-ups and stuff like that, but
No,
they fully dealt with it, right? And one of the things is Harry did not want to go through as much as the contractors are going through on the ones that are there is putting the blocking in because you need some support behind the shower wall to be able to support these. They're going ahead at risk and doing that. They would prefer the board gave approval and that we had fully approval for the change order before they ordered all the seats. It's a bolt-on thing, so they can just come back into the units and do that afterwards, and it's not a big deal.
Do we know how much we have in contingency?
Yes, I
think I emailed that to you.
Oh, is that the chart? Okay.
Yeah.
Kathy,
It was a separate email, but
Kathy,
Yes.
we're not going to share that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
thank you.
Okay. So there's enough in contingency to cover these seats.
Yes.
Yes.
And we have plenty left to be able to do in case, because just so we're all aware, there's going to be another change order for something somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
It's the nature of construction. So it's more of just, this is part of our job is to manage it, balance it. I would, it's always nice to have extra contingency that you do improvements, but the improvements and betterments that we do outside of contract have to have relevance to what the grant was for doing the boilers, the hot water tanks, and these bathrooms. So, as we get further along, Harry and I will have a discussion about what else we could do to kind of do an upgrade, because again, we want to try to spend the money to better the building as best we can.
So Ken, Maureen and I are participants in those weekly project meetings. And I have to say, I don't want to start tossing blame around, Kent, but I do want to make it clear that I am concerned about what I see as the lack of kind of forethought about some of the plans that got put together. You know, the fact that nobody thought about those valves that cost us, what, 18, I forget how much that first CO was.
$22,000.
22,000. So, you know, and then right on the heels of that, it's, oops, we forgot the shower seats.
Yeah, 11,000 too. So already we're into $34,000, 2 change orders, and you've only been in this project a month.
And so just as a member of the board, I simply am concerned that that perhaps one of the professionals that we are paying either may not have done due diligence on some of this stuff or whatever, but that I found troublesome. And then I also would really like it to be a process for us that the next time something like this comes up, the board is immediately notified and we immediately have a special meeting if, oh, God forbid, another massive problem change order comes up, so that Giulio is not too far ahead of us. I mean, he's in good faith going ahead, putting in the blocking, but it troubles me that he's going ahead, expending our money without us, 1, knowing, or 2, approving.
Mhm.
So I'd really like there to be more coordination on future change orders of this magnitude, not the $900. I mean, in my opinion, Harriet did what Harriet had to do. $900, it would have stopped the work, you know, but 11 grand, I think we
Yeah.
need to do before the Thursdays come around.
I agree. I do know that this all came up last week. We then had our construction meeting Thursday to kind of figure this out and had meetings with engineers. So in my opinion, between Thursday and now, this is 10 times faster than any of my other clients. So I'm very impressed with you guys getting this together so quickly.
Yeah, I also want to thank you for doing this. I do want to say that I have discussed the issues with the design team, and they are very aware of our feelings moving forward. And we are going to start having on-site meetings at least twice a month. And I think that will also be extremely helpful, so that we're all seeing exactly what's going on. We can go into the rooms, we can take a look at things. It's, rather than, discussing it with some paper documents.
In fact, we have an on-site meeting Thursday, right?
Correct.
Yeah, at 2:00.
Maureen, I think you'll probably agree with me. Giulio is just doing a sensational job, I think. He's,
Oh, listen, they did even when they did the valves that we had been planning for that dreaded 3-day thing, they got it done in 1 day. I absolutely agree with the work he's doing. But, I mean, $34,000 I just found last week when I was talking to Harriet, and I said to her, are the seats going in? And then all of a sudden it was, oh my God, we forgot the seats. And then there was the excuses about it. But yes, I absolutely I think on-site meetings are good, and we'll be able to ask questions directly to them, not via Zoom and all that, because I want to see how it's coming out.
So we have no issue with the company that's doing the work.
No,
The
Not at
issue
all.
is
no.
the
The
plans
issue
were
was in the
incorrect.
design and planning.
Design and plan. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I do have to say, I also love working with Giulio. I talk to him a few times a week. He's very responsive. In
Mhm.
fact, I have the new 2021 multifamily initiative incentives from Eversource. And I noticed on one of them that it had to do with some shower head incentives. And I emailed him immediately and said, is this something that we can take advantage of? And he said yes. So I'm gathering up the paperwork for that. So there are some good incentives from Eversource UI that we will have towards the project as well.
Perfect. No, I'm pleased to hear that I even appreciate that he's going ahead in good faith and putting your blocking in and
Yeah.
preparing for those seats. Laurel and I had talked briefly about the chairs, the, shower chairs. And Laurel's experience with them with her mother, she said, was not good. They move, they
They're
slide.
not safe.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
especially
then
if
you've got people in wheelchairs who are going to try to take it out of there. So,
Yep.
no,
you're- yeah.
I thought that might
Absolutely.
be a less expensive way to go, but
Yeah, but it's not the safest for
it's
them.
not the safest. No,
Yeah.
no. And you've got people who may need the chair and people who don't need the seat, and it's there, and you change apartments and you change tenants and yeah. No, I mean, personally, I don't see any way to not
Yeah, you have to.
approve this, and just cross our fingers and hope there's nothing else left out of that plan.
I'd like to make a motion to accept on the valve replacement. Ken, what was the CO number on that?
The PCO number is 5.
5? Okay.
It's actually 4 and 5. 4 is the corroded pipe, and 5 is the other one. But the
Right.
CO will actually have a different numbering because that comes from the contractor. So,
Okay, what's the dollar amount?
do you want both of them? Or just
Yeah.
the one is $919.75, and the seats is $11,280.50.
Do we need to approve the 19,000? Or that's
No, the
the
11,280.
11,000 and the 919, okay.
Right.
Mhm.
You want a motion on PCO4 for the valves?
The 900?
We
Yeah.
did that already. The board approved the,
Oh, at the last meeting?
Oh, yeah, we already
Yeah,
did the
we approved that.
22,000 one, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
So
So
we
I'd like to make a motion that we approve PCO5
Mhm.
in the amount of $11,280.50 for the shower seats.
I have a second,
I'll second.
Maureen second. Any discussion on it or?
I do have a question on the actual change request. It has gypsum wallboard, and that's 2,700. It's installed to the shower, right? Not to drywall.
The gypsum board is any other. I wanted them to clean that up because it's confusing. There's backer board that needs to go on the back side of the shower, which is basically a plywood board, and then there's gypsum that goes on top of that. So it's part of the internal thing, and the installation is included because I was confused the way that it was written. So
Okay.
I don't know why he wrote it like that. It's basically the shower seats and blocking installed.
Yeah, I was confused about the installation too because it's not listed. So didn't want us to get another surprise.
Yeah, I don't know the change order.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah, I don't want to, and I also don't want to buy. I don't want a pile of them in your community room, and then we got to find out how to install them.
DIY.
I have a motion by Laurel, seconded by Maureen. Can we have a vote, show of hands? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, so that is approved. And then we need one for a motion for the water pipe,
$900.
the 919.75, yes.
I'll make a motion.
You'll say that was already approved at a board meeting?
No, the top
No.
one, they're replacing the
The top one
valves.
was, yeah.
that was sort of an emergency situation for the corroded water pipe where I had to make a decision, say, just go get it.
The 919, Laurel.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion then that we approve PCO4 in the amount of excuse me, Barbara, $919.75. Huh? Yeah, 919.75,
Yes.
correct?
I'll
Okay.
second.
For valve replacement.
Okay.
A quick
Or water
question on
pipe,
this.
Water pipe, that's the corroded
Water pipe
water pipe.
replacement? Okay.
Yes, all right. Any more discussion on that? That's
Yeah.
done?
Quick question on,
Yes.
I see on the one side, it has an overage of 109.06, and then on the other side, it also has an overage of 10%. Is that normal to have two overages?
I'm sorry, where are you looking?
Yeah, that's,
On that one, A and B mechanical, at the bottom, it says overage 10%, actually 15%. And then on the other side, it also has an overage of 10%.
Yeah, that's their bond.
Yes,
That's their bond? So that's appropriate?
Yeah, that's normal.
Okay, thanks.
okay. Any more questions on that one? Show of hands, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so that's approved as well. Okay. Bill, can you tell if there is if there's anybody on who's looking to participate?
There are no attendees at this moment.
All right, then we can't discuss anything else, so by unanimous consent, can we adjourn?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you, everybody, for
okay,
making the time.
Thank you.
yes, appreciate it. Thank you.
It was nice meeting you.
Bye. You too. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye now.